My first few poems will be about the war in Ukraine, and my personal background is I'm part Cherokee and Afro-American, so a lot of my poetry will deal with those from that viewpoint. The first one is called Taken. I watched Russia march into Ukraine today. I wonder what Chief Crazy Horse would say. A nation by force taking someone else's land? A righteous people would not let that stand. Never seen this kind of aggression before. Takes some madman to knock down a peaceful door. To slaughter women and children just to get their way? I wonder what Chief Sitting Bull would say. What will history write about this fray? About the attacks on peace and the price that was paid. Again, we see a power doing its will, taking what they want, not caring who they kill. How do we stand for a better day when this kind of sickness gets in the way? To arise above what we see, our quest, the salvation of humanity. I'm sure Black Elk has tears in his eyes when he sees what we have done. All he can say is that he tried to teach that the world is one. And my second poem is called The Unforgotten Peace. The sun would glisten on the early morning dew, air so fresh that it smelled like the day was new. The sounds of earth being awakened from above, birds singing melodic songs, while bees spread their special love. A calm, gentle breeze, planting earth's seeds, spreading them all around. The scent of wildflowers, so fragrant and sweet, they would blanket the entire ground. Such calm and tranquility I knew was truly loved. To be one with our Maker, hearing sounds of morning doves. One day that peace was taken. The reason I don't know. My world would never be the same. The fields no longer grow. They came for me full of hate. Whatever did I do? I was Native, African, Asian, Ukrainian, Jew. I am now a refugee and my heart is home. No matter where they send me or wherever I may roam, I'll remember the grace of peace and the world that lives within. I pray someday for no more hate, but love for all will win. The third poem is called Know What You're Fighting For. When David fought Goliath, he certainly knew the score. No one believed that David would win, but he knew what he was fighting for. When Ali fought Foreman, they said he was getting old. Everyone thought that Ali would lose. At least that's what he was told. When Jackie joined the Dodgers, no one gave him a chance. A black man in the major leagues, he did that bigotry dance. The boycott in Montgomery, where no one rode the bus. Some thought it was a little thing, but it was important to us. Often history can be changed by an inconsequential act. Who knew a country would be born from raising a tea tax? When one man invades another's space, 'cause he is wanting more, can awaken a mighty nation that knows what it's fighting for. In this life, we will face tribulations galore. There are many choices we'll have to make so we can be more. The challenge that await us behind every door, The world will be a better place if we know what we're fighting for. Next one is called, Do You Know Who You Are? You were born with elements of distant stars, given innate knowledge to know who you are. We tend to forget our noble purpose in life, revealing our true selves in moments of strife. When there is disaster, we make so many arise to help perfect strangers. For the grace of God go I. Everyday chores no longer seem right, for now we are called to a greater light. When we see hunger, then we try to give food, our instinct to follow the golden rule. Calamity can alter the world that we see, experiencing the best of humanity. When floods and fires, hurricanes knock at our door, we learn who we are, what we're really here for. Oh, all the material things that we thought we owned, vanishing in the blink of an eye, leaving ashes and bones. At that moment, we learn who we are, richer than we imagined, even with scars. It wasn't the things that we possess or behold. Our true wealth was hidden in our soul. Okay, then I'll read a few from my first book. This one's a little bit more introspective. This poem is called The Bottom of the Well. My mother never liked Dr. Martin Luther King. All she saw and all she heard was how he'd sing, "We shall overcome." What did that mean? All her life, she was a person not seen. It's hard to look up from the bottom of the well. The sun's so bright you can't tell what's true and what's a dream. Because at the bottom of the well, you are mostly unseen. I know I was born at the bottom of the well, but I built a ladder so my hopes and dreams would not dwell down so deep that the sun wouldn't shine. Because I saw the sun and I knew what was mine. I tried to show my mother the light. Being in the dark so long, she had lost her sight. To be at the bottom of the well, they say, is where hopes and dreams refuse to stay. Oh, that ladder I built to keep me on track. That ladder was built on my mother's back. Okay, and this is another poem that kind of introduces me. It's called Henry Jackson Coleman, my father. My father's name is Henry Jackson Coleman, part Cherokee and part Black. No matter what I did in life, he always had my back. Little formal education did he ever get, yet his knowledge of all things was greater than anyone I've met. He would read and study the Bible, joyful knowledge in many books. To get ahead in this world, he knew just what it took. CCC, WPA, a New Deal guy he'd be. He showed him how to open doors, for now he had the keys. He could build a house or repair a car, grow food from the earth, and even search the stars. My dad was a proud man, took pride in family most of all. He would often rise up when others tried to make us fall. My father's name is Henry Jackson Coleman, part Cherokee and part Black. No matter what I did in life, he always had my back. And this one's called Ripples. The smallest of deeds that we'll never know affects who we are, the path that we go. Like a starfish tossed back into the sea, helping them find where they need to be. How many times was a selfless act done so we could find our place in the sun. Seeds of kindness that voluntarily unfold, spontaneously giving heart and soul. Ripples we feel, yet cannot see, that endlessly alter our destiny. All right, so the next one comes from this book. Okay, next prayer is called, next poem is called, We Hold These Truths. What does it mean to hold a truth so obvious that it can't be denied, it can't be changed or altered or presented as a lie? That all men are created equal includes women too. Some may think different, but they don't follow the golden rule. Laws are changed so a few could deny their past, although we know the echoes of their actions will last. We hold these truths that all are created free, born with a purpose to serve humanity. The birds that sing and the sun that shines, the rain that falls with the air so fine, the moon at night, oh, how sublime. We hold these truths. It serves soul and mind. What other facts can we all see? Who we are and who we meant to be. Our purpose in life will not be done. We hold these truths until the world is one. And this is called As Long as the Grass is Green and the River Flows. It's a letter from Mother Earth. What happens to a promise if the words fade away, if no one can save you at the end of the day? When the mountains and rivers are screaming your name, why have you forsaken us? Where is your shame? For many years, your people looked after me. We took care of each other like family. Those who now occupy this earth have forgotten what my love is worth. Can you hear my daily cries, the fires and floods? See how I die. What will it take before you rise? So precious a jewel, yet you squander your prize. Not much longer do I have, so please hear my plea. I gave you all that I had and whatever you would need. From what place in your soul came all of your greed to destroy this beautiful world and humanity? There is still time, but you don't have very long until the melody stops and I've sang my last song. Open your eyes and listen to your heart. I'll soon just be a memory in someone's art. This is called Give Me a Moment. Give me a moment to smell the floral fields, to breathe the ocean air and see the harvest yields. I want to feel and hear the laughter of children once again, spend time with my family, hug a few old friends. I'll dream of a world the way it ought to be, where we love everyone and live in harmony. To have and see a future where all God's children are blessed. Please give me just a moment so I'm ready for the test. I can hear the calls and cries of humanity's unrest. Precious seconds I will steal to prepare me for this quest. What moments do we have to correct a world that's wrong, to change the sound and rhythm, to hear a brand new song? Now we are beckoned to rise and answer this call. United we will stand, or divided we all fall. The clock has stopped ticking. The hour it has come. One more chance has been given to answer the beating of this drum. And then the last ones. This one's called If the Lord's Willing and the Creek Don't Rise. When people departed and said goodbye, they'd always leave with this parting cry. If the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, to see you again will be my privilege and prize. People didn't know what the next day would hold, an unforeseen illness, the heat or the cold. Never knew when they see you again, so in their heart, they parted as friends. In these times, it would be nice to know that whenever we traveled or wherever we go, there's someone waiting to welcome us home, to give us a hug, knowing we're not alone. When we see our friends, we hope them the best, that their future will always withstand any tests. To meet again will bring joy to our eyes, if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Okay. And then the last poem we'll read is about a good friend of ours called Kevin Locke. He was a Lakota Sioux, and he was a hoop dancer. And he was known internationally. He traveled all over the world doing hoop dancing. And some of that beautiful music you heard at the beginning, Kevin would also play the Indian flute, the flute music. And a lot of his, he has quite a few recordings of him with the Indian flute, beautiful music. And he passed away about a week ago. So this is a tribute to Kevin Locke. It's called The Hoop Dancer. An Angel's Quest. The sky got dark and rain came down. The clouds opened up and the sun was found. Rays of light pierced the glistening drops. A rainbow had formed. The colors popped. Who would dance with nature's celestial hoops, created from a heavenly, colorful group? Would there be a heart that's kind and pure, that brought joy to the world and is very cure? I searched for a dancer to match the beat of the rain. The drums were the thunder, from the heaven it came. The hoops were given from the rainbow above. Now all the dancer needed was grace and love. To find such a gifted soul, whose joy would change the world we know, a light in the darkest of times, with character that was so sublime. The talented soul they sent me to find was called Sebastian Bach. He was great, but he couldn't dance. So I sent them Kevin Locke. Okay, thank you.
In the Lakota language, there's no word for art. There's no word to separate that impulse, that process. It's so integral to who we are. You just look out in the world, you can see that the world is just a world of fragrance and movement and sound and beauty and color and harmony and balance. And so we ourselves, as being a part of this, is just the most natural possible thing to express ourselves as a part of this great hoop of life. We use the arts as a way to connect us to reality, to connect us with that which is good, which is real, which is eternal, timeless. O great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the wind, and whose breath gives life to all the world. Well, the reason why I perform is because that's the most direct way of connecting with people heart to heart, because there's so much of a barrier between people. It's that people long for some venue, some means, some instrumentality through which they can connect with each other. Just in the area where I live, like in the Ojibwe language, the word for coffee is makade mashkiki wabu. Makade mashkiki wabu. So never try and ask for decaf. Okay. What am I going to do? All right. Let's. Anywhere you go in the world with the folk arts, they can relate to it because what they can see is that universality that comes through, the universal inclination of the human spirit to express itself with refinement and beauty and nobility and dignity. And so to me, this is what the folk arts are all about. Now I've traveled over the course of my life, especially the last 20 years, to over 70 countries, nearly 80, I believe it's 79 countries. And in my travel I've encountered many diverse peoples so on all the continents, Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, Central America, the Pacific, just everywhere, from the most remote places, and I've been there. But to me, the most important audiences are the young audiences, especially the children and junior youth. That's really the target audience, because these are the ones that you can reach them and plant a seed in their hearts and their minds. Because, just like for you and I, what helps us to grow is when we receive the light of knowledge. You ever think of knowledge as light? So every day, when you guys learn your lessons, it's like that light comes into your mind. And your mind can grow just like the plants that grow in spring. And then, of course, we need the warmth, too. Just like in the spring, the sun gets warmth. And that warmth is like the love and the way we can show respect to each other and treat each other good, in a good way, respectfully, and be trustworthy. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. You guys get it? For sure? Okay. The basic message of the hoop dance is to accentuate the interconnectedness of all creation and how we as human beings are integral within this interrelationship. And the way I do it is to use 28 hoops. The 28 hoops symbolize the number of days in the lunar cycle, especially the one corresponding to the transition from the cold, dark, lifeless, colorless condition that we call winter into the condition of color and sound and beauty and fragrance and movement and light and life, and we call that spring. And I use the 4 different colors of hoops to symbolize the different powers in the universe, the 4 directions, the seasons, the elements, and of course all the diverse kindreds of the human family, and how this is symbolic of what occurs when the divine spirit is breathed into the hearts and minds of the people, and then they can come to life, and we can have visions, and we can have joy and happiness, and all that, this unity and all the things that are holding us back just fade away just like the winter. Humankind has to go through this great transformation now. And so we have to be very focused about creating this paradigm shift in the world. So when I do the hoop dance, it's like a prayer that this process could be accelerated, that all the different peoples of the world, different tribes, different kindreds, could indeed bring this world to life. I find people really all over, even though outwardly we're so different. We all come in different packaging, different complexions, different outward trappings, yet within ourselves, within our heart, within our spirit, there is such a commonality. And when we engage or connect with our musical traditions, the barrier between ourselves and our past, our ancestors, this is obliterated. And we can begin to feel the prayers and feel the vision and the hopes and the longings of our ancestors, and see how we can begin to bring this into reality or fulfillment as we begin to see our place in this great hoop of life and all the peoples connecting. The barrier between the generations, that's all erased as we all gather together around our musical and dance traditions. What the folk arts express is something that transcends culture or tribal specific limitations and hones in on this universal spirit that attracts and magnetizes, galvanizes all people.
That's your style.